All right, Shalom. All praise is due to Yah. In today's lesson, I'm going to go over the scriptures to show y'all that the Latinos and Native American Indians are not our people and they're not Israelites. Because till this day, you still have the majority of these One West camps out there, all the different splinter groups who are still running around teaching this fallacy and this lie that Latinos and Hispanics are Israelites. Latinos and Hispanics are our people, and they're part of this nations. They be having all these Eurasians, Mongolians, Siberians, Caucasians, European looking like Hispanics, and all these different congregations and camps perpetrating a fraud to making it seem as if they're our people. But I'm going to go over Jacob and all of his wives to show y'all on why that is not the case. Hispanics and Latinos are not Israelites and they're not our people. But before I go to all the different precepts in regards of Jacob and Leah, or I should probably say Jacob and all of his wives, Leah, Bilhah, Zilpah, and Rachel, I'm going to go over a couple precepts to show you the colors of the Israelites or the Jews. Right? So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in right now on the screen. And I'm going to start with all these basic precepts that a lot of you cats in Israel already know. I'm going to go to Jeremiah 14:2. It says, Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof language. They are what? Black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem has gone up. As you can see, Revelation 14:2, solid and concrete, giving you a physical description of the Jews. And it's letting you know right here that they're black. They don't look Mongolians. They don't look Siberians, Asians, and they definitely don't look like white people. They definitely don't look like a combination of white with Asian. You're not going to find that anywhere near in our records. So you know damn well that all these niggas out there and all these different groups and camps are lying on the scriptures, they're lying on history, and they're also lying on our culture. So I'm going to go to Lamentation 4:8. It says, their visage is blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It is become like a stick. Another precept showing to y'all the physical description of the Jews or Israelites. And they don't look nothing like the so-called Hispanics and Native Americans. Lamentation 5:10, another precept. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. Cold cut. Let's go to Jeremiah 8:21 to see what Jeremiah the prophet looked like. It says, for the hurt of the daughter of my people are my hurt. I am black. Astonishment had taken hold of me. When you check out all the records of the scriptures, when you check out all the archaeology, all the other records and primary sources and documentations, it will tell you that the Israelites and the Jews were black. They were black, they were Negroes. And I don't give a damn if any of you camps out there or any of you other Israelites who may not come out of the school of thought of One West, if you have an issue with me using the word black or using the word Negro. I don't give a damn, because I know the majority of you niggas, you have self-hatred, which is one of the many reasons why you're accepting all of these Mongoloid, Eurasian looking ass Hispanics and Native American Indians and y'all camps. So I'm going to go to Exodus 4:6 and dealing with Moses. And it says, and the Lord, or Yah, said furthermore unto him, put not thy hand into thy bosom. So the Creator Most High told Moses to put his hand in his bosom, and he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. So he put his hand in his bosom, and his hand became white as snow. And he said, verse 7, put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom. And behold, it was turned again as what is other flesh. So what color was Moses' other flesh? It was black. You see? it was black. Moses was also a black man. He was a Negro, or so-called Negro, or a Negro. Before I read Ezekiel 8 and 3, I'm going to jump down to Exodus 2. I'm not going to read all the verses. I'm going to go straight down. I'm going to go and read verse 15 and verse 19. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a well. Just to let you know that it's talking about Moses. So I'm going to jump down to verse 19. And it says, and it said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us, and watered the flock. So even Moses himself was compared to an Egyptian. Now, when you check out all the records of ancient Kemet or Egypt, you clearly see that the ancient Egyptians were black. Moses passed for an Egyptian. He was also another black man. I'm going to go to Ezekiel 8 and 3. In Ezekiel 8 chapter and 3rd verse, it says, and he put forth the form of an hand, and it took me by what? A lock of my head. And that's dealing with Ezekiel. You see? When you go back and check out Ezekiel and then dealing with the lock, you can clearly see that black folks in general, or black people with really textured hair, when we don't comb our hair naturally locks on its own. What people what we normally call dreadlocks, which is part of our customs. But then you got all these different camps out there, which is going to be a whole other topic or subject matter. The majority of these One West camps will have you think that having quote-unquote so-called dreadlocks is a sin. That's a goddamn lie. And it says, and the Spirit lifted me up between the earth and the heaven and brought me into the visions of God to Jerusalem, to the door of the inner gate that looked toward the north, where was the seat of the image of jealousy, which provoked to jealousy. So having quote-unquote so-called dreadlocks is not a custom of Hispanics and Native American Indians. Even though today you might have a couple of Hispanics and Native American Indians you might see walking around rocking dreadlocks. They might be into Rastafarianism, but in all general, they just want to imitate or copy us. But the vast overwhelming majority of them don't be rocking dreadlocks, locks, or braids. Those are all our customs and traditions. You see? Now let me go to Amos 9 and 7 so I can show the color of all the tribes of Israel. And it says, are ye not as the children of the Ethiopians unto me, O children of Israel, saith the Lord? O Yah, have not I brought you up Israel out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Caphtor, and the Syrians from Ker. Here it is, Amos 9 and 7. The Creator is saying, or asking us, are you not as the children of Ethiopians? Comparing us to the Ethiopians. You see that? So what color are the Ethiopians? The Ethiopians, or the Cushites, are black. You see? When you go back and check out the Ethiopians of back then, even till this day, they don't look like a typical Hispanic or Native American Indian. Like I say, you're not going to come across any precepts in our records showing you that the Israelites will have the phenotypes of these modern day Latinos or Native American Indians. You see? Now I'm going to show you on the next verse that in order for you to be an Israelite, you got to trace your paternal lineage back. Now, in other words, no, what I'm trying to say is in order for you to be an Israelite, it has to go back to the seed of your father. It's that simple. I'm going to read Ezra 2 and 59. And it says, and these were they which went up from Telma, Telharsa, Sharub, Adon, and Immer, but they could not show, I'm going to repeat again, but they could not show their father's house and their seed, whether they were of Israel. So in order for you to show forth your nationality of being an Israelite, it has to be of the seed of your father. And as you can see, I read all these different precepts showing to you a physical description of the Israelites. Jacob was a black man. He was a black man or a Negro. So if Jacob was a black man, and I'm going to go over it right now, and all of his sons were black, common sense should tell you that in order for you to be an Israelite, your paternal lineage have to be of Negroid descent. Period, point blank. You can't get around that. The majority of these pale-faced Hispanics are not our people. Hold on. The majority of these pale-faced Hispanics are of Caucasian or Asian descent. They are not our people. They are not part of this nation. Now, being the fact that you have some of our people who intermingle and mixed with them, you do have a few of them out there who have the Eurasian phenotypes who are able to trace their paternal lineage to a Negro. But the overall majority of them do not fit the description of the Torah. Period, point blank. Let's see. I'm going to go to Job 8 and 8, all the way on the bottom. And it says, "For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of thy fathers." So your nationality is determined by the seed of your father. And then also too, I can also read First Chronicles, first chapter, all the way to the 8th chapter. It's giving you the genealogy of Israel based upon the seed of their fathers. I'll repeat again. First Chronicles, you want to read the first chapter all the way down to 8th chapter. It's giving you a complete chronology or analysis of the seed of Israel, showing to you that your nationality is determined by your father. So in order for you to be an Israelite, your father got to be of Negroid descent. And all these other cats you be seeing in all these different groups and camps are not our people. They're not part of this nation. They're our enemies. The majority of Hispanics and Native Americans don't like us as a people. They hate blacks. That's a fact, man. They're very racist towards us. You see? So I'm going to go, let's see. All right, so I'm going to go in the scriptures right now. Hold on. I'm going to go in the book of Genesis. And I'm going to be dealing right now with Jacob and Leah. Let's see. I'm looking for Genesis 29. And let's see, 31 to 35. And it says, "And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years. And when Yah saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren, and Leah conceived and bare a son. And she called his name Reuben, for he had said, Surely Yah had looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me. And she conceived again, and bare a son, and said, Because Yah had heard that I was hated, he had therefore given me his son. And she called his name Simeon. So now you got Reuben, Simeon. I'm going to read the next verse. And it says, And she conceived again, and bare a son, and said, Now this time will my husband be joined unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore was his name called Levi. And she conceived again, and bare a son, and said, Now will I praise thee, Lord. Therefore she called his name Judah, and left bearing. That was, let's see, all right. So that was verse 35. So now I'm going to go to the next chapter. I'm still dealing with Jacob and Leah. I'm going to go to Genesis 30 and 17. And it says, And God hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived, and bare Jacob the 5th son. And Leah said to God, God hath given me my hire, because I have given my maiden, my husband. She called his name Issachar. I'm going to the next one. Verse 19. And Leah conceived again, and bare Jacob the 6th son. And Leah said, God had endued me with a good dowry. Now will my husband dwell with me, because I have borne him 6 sons. And she called his name Zebulon. So as you can see, Jacob and Leah had 6 sons. Now, when you check out that false 12 trap chart that's being promoted by One West, according to the chart, they saying that Judah are the so-called African Americans, or the so-called Black Americans, and Levi are the so-called Haitians. Reuben is the so-called Native Seminole Indians. Simeons will be the Dominicans. Issachar the Mexicans, and Zebulon will be dealing with the Mongoloid, Eurasian looking ass Hispanics over there around the regions of Panama, and so on and so forth. So out of all the other precepts that I read over here, I showed you the real colors of the Jews. Nationality is determined by the seed of your father. Jacob, on the other hand, married 4 black women. If Levi and Judah are black, how in the hell did Reuben, Simeon, Issachar, and Zebulon came out with Eurasian phenotypes? That doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't add up. You see what I'm saying? Hold on. There you go, right there. So if Judah and Levi came out black, came out with all those Negro phenotypes, how in the hell did Reuben, Simeon, Issachar, and Zebulon came out looking like this? Came out looking like a Eurasian. It doesn't make any sense. Your nationality is determined by the seed of your father. All these people are Neanderthals, Denisovans, bunch of goddamn GMO looking ass mutts. You see, they're not our people, they're not Israelites. Those are some goddamn Neanderthals. They all have recessive genes. Hispanics and Latinos are more sensible of catching melanoma skin cancer than us. And that's factual. They all have doggy stringy hair. You see what I'm saying? They're more sensible of catching lice. They're not our people. When you go to all these different camps out and all these different coons who be promoting these people as being the chosen people of the Creator, or as being Israel, you notice on how they never talk about the real indigenous people of the Americas, which is us. The real indigenous people of Central and South America, Cuba, Mexico, Bolivia, Colombia, Haiti, and Panama. They never want to show you the people who are falsely called Afro-Latinos. But I'm also going to make videos in the near future is shown to you based upon the artifacts and archaeology on how these people over here are not even indigenous of the Americas. They're not the Olmecs, they're not the Aztecs, they're not the Incas, they're not the Cherokees, they're not the Taínos, they're not the Caribs, they're not the Caracals, they're not the Incas, none of that. So that's a lie right there, that Reuben, Issachar, and Zebulun and Simeon look or have the phenotype structure as these people. I'm going to stop this video right now, and I'm going to come back for part 2.